Welcome, my darling pretties, to our Beyond the Dawn of Business podcast for pretty, empowered female entrepreneurs. It's time to step into your power, pretties. Lift each other, support the squad, and choose a life filled with the autonomy and freedom to live your dreams. I'm your host, Dawn Beth, owner and founder of Beyond the Dawn digital business brand and agency. My coffee is hot and my eyelashes are on, so we are ready to go. Hi everybody and welcome to today's episode. I am so delighted to welcome my friend Maggie Collette from Think Like a Boss to come today and speak to me just to casually chat and let you guys know what it's like to be an absolute fantastic boss babe. Maggie is a dear friend and we have been in connection now for a good few months after we were on a course together. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to you, Maggie. I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Dawn. And oh my goodness, I am so excited to be here that we're finally recording this. So hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Maggie Collette. I am the boss behind the brand Think Like a Boss. I essentially empower the world to believe in themselves, and anyone who has a business dream, I help them turn their business dream into reality through social media.
Yay! We're social sisters in that way that we there's a lot of things at the moment that get a bad rep when it comes to social media, but I feel like the two of us are always there kind of crusading for the good things and how we can actually use it in the way it was intended to connect with other people.
Absolutely. And I think that's the key thing, and I think this is where, so many people go wrong, is that they're not intentional about their use of social media. And when you're not intentional, you start falling into that mindless or aimless scrolling, and then before you know it, you've been on platforms for an hour or 2 hours, and then you start to compare yourself. Like, there's all sorts of things that can happen when you're not intentional. But when you are intentional, you jump on, you're there to share your message, you're there to connect with your community, to respond to any DMs, and it can be a really fun place. And Dawn, as well as I do, how much your life can change through the use of social media. Like, ladies, you can quite literally change your entire life and change your path and change your business. Like, there's so much opportunity available to you if you're using it the right way.
Yeah, I 100%, I mean, this, I 100% agree with everything you've just said. And I think one of the things that we come up against at the moment is being professionals and experts in this space is that constant feeling like everything is so noisy, and how do you cultivate what you consume, and how do you actually find a way to share your narrative, to share your voice and have it be a positive thing. And at the moment, my best advice has always been that if all of the people who use it in such a beautiful, authentic way were to leave, then you really would only be left with the bad stuff, right? So we almost have a responsibility to be there and be not a part of the noise, but to cut through the noise and be that positive influence in that space.
Absolutely. Like, the world needs the online space as well. The world needs us. Like, every single one of us, whether you are just starting out in business, whether you have a dream to start a business, whether you have a product-based or a service-based business, we all have some form of solution to people's problems. And the fact is, there isn't enough of us. So we have that duty and we have that obligation to show up and share our message with the world to help make the world a better place.
I love it. I love you. Whenever we get together, I always just feel so happy. You're one of those people, Maggie, that just fills my cup and makes me feel just so connected. And I'm so grateful for you coming on the podcast, because I know that my pretties will be able to feel that same way just by listening to your voice.
Oh, thank you.
It's so good. It's so good. So tell me, what have you been doing? What have you been up to in your business at the moment?
So I'm actually in LA at the moment. So I've been here. Well, I came out a couple of months ago. I managed to get an exemption to fly out here. Obviously, the borders have since opened up. And this week I'm going to be attending my first in-person retreat. I've not been on a retreat for almost 2 years now. So
wow.
Yeah, so I've got lots of exciting meetings happening this week. I'm actually I think it's on Thursday, we're doing performance hacking with the Kardashians, like health team, which is super exciting.
That's so good.
Yeah, so I'm out here just to kind of be in the sunshine, to live the laptop lifestyle, to meet with some very exciting people, and obviously running my business from my laptop and my phone. And just really kind of starting to, plan out 2022 as well, and exactly what it is that I want to call in. And hopefully all of you listening right now as well, you're thinking about what it is that you want from life, from your business, because we're our own boss. And sometimes it can be so easy to forget that, especially if we don't have boundaries in place. We do get to decide who we work with. We do get to decide who we say no to. We do get to, do whatever the heck we want. So such an important reminder, everyone, to remember that you always have control. And if you don't feel like you have control at the moment, then take a step back and go away from it temporarily and ask yourself, right, what isn't working right now? And how do I want things to work, and what's the gap that needs bridging? And it might be boundaries, it might be expanding the team so you don't feel like you're having to do everything yourself, it might be changing and pivoting. There's a million different things that that can happen here, but it's so important to have that time, and that's partly why I'm out here as well, is to be in a different environment, because we've all been at home for so many months, and I know the world has opened up again now, which is amazing, but we also need that space to breathe and to just be and to find our creative flow again.
I love that. I mean, probably better than most how I love changing my environment. Yeah. And last year I was able to do that for a few months. Yeah. So I'm sat here totally delighted and totally jealous of you right now. For being over there. I'm so glad and so happy for you. My heart is full, and I wish that I was able to do that this year. And I hope it's good over there. How are you feeling? How has that environment change kind of like felt for you?
Yeah, it feels really good. Like, it feels amazing. I call this my spiritual home, because I feel so connected out here. And the sun is always shining. Like, it's pretty much almost Christmas, and it's 26 degrees outside.
Oh, wow.
There's, the sun's shining, there's palm trees everywhere. Everyone's just so happy all of the time, and I'm active because of it. I wake up early in the morning, I go for a run because I want to be outside, because it's so beautiful outside, and everyone's just unapologetically themselves out here as well.
Talking about changing your environment and the people whose energy you're around, that's something that you and I have discussed a lot this year, and it's something that I feel like perhaps is a new concept to quite a lot of the people that we know firsthand. We've been able to do that in the last couple of years for ourselves, but I know so many people that maybe haven't even considered trying it yet.
Yeah, which is interesting, isn't it? And I guess if you have always kind of done the same thing, then you don't know any different. But what I'd love to challenge everyone right now listening to do is to do something different, to try something new.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's really funny is that when we discuss our mental health and our external kind of well-being, we often look at how our mental health being good can make our external life better, but we maybe don't do that connection backwards. Like, we don't look at how the outside of things can actually make us feel better inside and have that internal shift as well. I know that you love LA. I know that it's your spiritual place, and that's what's lovely about that is it's almost like you take away the effort that you have to find to connect to that feeling because it's already automatically around you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Ease.
And that energy as well, like when you're just, you know, your energy can shift so incredibly quickly depending on where you are and what you're doing. Like, let's say, for instance, you're in your house, in your home at the moment, and your partner might be having a bad day. They might be in a bad mood. That energy is actually going to infiltrate onto you. If you were to stay in your home for the rest of the day and be in that energy, you're going to feel that. If, however, you were to step out of the house and say, do you know what, I'm going to take myself to the local coffee shop and I'm going to work from there for a couple of hours, like, your energy is instantly going to lift. You're going to be vibrating at a much higher frequency, and you're going to be more of a magnet for the things that you want to attract, like the good things that you want to attract into your life as well. So energy and space is so important, and people don't realise, like, what actually sells our products and our services, aside from offering a solution to people's problems, what actually sells our products and services is our energy.
And the way we show up.
Yes, that's what people are drawn to. That is what you are a magnet for. And because people are going to be attracted to your energy. So protecting it and preserving it is so important.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think one of the things that we sometimes, and we talk about this a lot in my membership, I'm sure you do as well with your people, but we talk all the time about taking care of the person first and making sure that the person of the business is actually the one that's in that state of growth, that's in that state of comfort, but not in your comfort zone, but comfort in your well-being, so that you can really get the most out of that energy that you have. And I think when you're trying to attract new clients, which is the majority, that's like priority number one, right? Attracting new clients is the thing that everybody wants to use social for. It's the thing that everybody recognizes. Actually, if you can look at it at a much wider perspective than that, you can see that there are so many other things that you can be doing to raise that vibration and the way that you are showing up on the online space, the way that you're kind of affecting people in the world. But you have to be willing to consider, like, how am I feeling right now? What do I need? And what would make this whole situation better? I'm so glad that you got out into LA as well, because I know you were planning to go earlier in the year and the COVID situation kind of put a bit of a dampener on that. So it must feel wonderful to finally get out there.
Oh, it feels incredible. Like, I just operating on a whole other frequency.
Oh, I love it. I love whenever we talk, we have this amazing kind of base platform of possibility. And it always just makes me feel so good that we're able to share that with people. And I know you share it all of the time. Like, you're very active on social. You have lots of audience. You have your own podcast as well. What do you do in terms of, like, your overall visibility?
So what I do, I show up. I have one day a week where I am not online. So I always take at least a 24-hour break. And it's usually one of the days at the weekend where I won't post anything. But aside from that, I'm visible every day. Now, I don't always show my face on stories every day. I will share content, and I will share, empowering and motivational content. But I also want to protect my energy too. And so that on the, 4 days a week where my face is visible and people can hear my voice and I am doing lives, I am just empowering the world to be a better place, and I feel great for it. So I'm very active. Stories is definitely the one thing I'm super active on. I probably go live now about 4 times a week for short, bite-sized, like 5-minute, just super short 5-minute lives. And I post on the feed pretty much every day, but I don't pressure myself to have to post every single day, if that makes sense. It just depends on what message. Like, I think it is important to try and batch content. However, I'm also someone who very much operates in the moment. And I don't want to feel almost stifled by having things scheduled. So
I love that you've addressed that, because so many people, they either really love batching and they find it therapeutic to lay it all out as planned with their strategy, and they can really look at their business from a bird's eye view and make sure that all of their core messages are there. And then other people just really dig being able to share in the moment on the fly, and sometimes there's that disconnect between like which one is the right one to do. And in truth, whenever we talk to other experts in our industry, there is no one size fits all, right? Like none of us say you should definitely do this exact thing. And it's a bit of a urban myth that you should post every single day at 3 p.m. and you have to use these hashtags and you have to do all of that. You actually just need to share your message. It's really simple when we break it down, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Dawn, honestly, the number of times I have been asked in the last week, Maggie, what is the best time of day to post? And the answer is the world is always online. There is no wrong time to post. If you have a message to share, you get out there and you share that message. And everything else, hashtags, it's, at the end of the day, it's not important. It's not the be all and end all. It starts with your message and having power behind that message as well, and speaking from the heart and just putting it out there and sharing it.
Oh, 100% totally agree. And I think, hashtags are great. The information that people are giving at the moment in terms of utilising Reels and being an early adopter of the new features and making sure that we're going live and using stories really well. I mean, it's all fantastic stuff, but I somehow feel like sometimes we can accidentally use those things as limiters rather than as potentials, because people will say, oh, well, I missed that time. That's the time that I believe my ideal client is online, so I just won't post today. Or, things have been a bit strange this week, so I'm just not going to use stories. I mean, this whole thing about giving stories a break for a month in order to kick them back in, I know that could sometimes work on a 24-hour basis, but hearing the myth that people are actually shutting it down for a whole month, I was kind of like, what? And it really worries me sometimes that these kind of almost digital urban myths go around, and we're just always preaching from the rooftops, just share your authentic self, just be you.
Yeah, absolutely. That myth is just bonkers. So ladies, whoever's listening right now, please do not show up on your stories for a month, okay?
It's not going to reset anything. I have no idea where it even came from.
Yeah, that's just insane. Just show up and just share from the heart, and your people will come to you. Your people will find you. And also, so important to remind everyone as well that we all start from zero. We all start from ground zero. So if you have 10 followers right now, or if you have 1,000 followers, celebrate the fact that you've got 10. Stop looking at the numbers and wanting to have more, and nurture the 10 that you already have. Get to know them on a personal level. Understand who they are, where they're from, what their struggles are. Start building that connection with them, because they are going to be your future buyers. They're going to turn into your raving fans.
Yeah, I love that. And it's really easy when you are connecting with the people that are of the same energy of you, or people that are drawn to you in that right way. It becomes really super easy because they are actually the people that you want to connect with. So it's not taxing. So many times I hear, I'm great at posting, but I don't engage much. And that's such a shame, because there's such a missed opportunity, not even just from a business perspective, but just from a person, like a human being to human being connection perspective. We have this amazing opportunity. You and I are a perfect example of this. An amazing opportunity to meet people who are going to change your life for the better. And so don't miss it. Don't leave that opportunity on the table.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much opportunity. I can't even, and do you know what? I'm going to share this example because I think it's a really powerful example to share. This time last year, it was pretty much this time last year, bang on, my content started getting regrammed by Khloe Kardashian. And it didn't just happen once, it didn't just happen twice. She did it for several months. So I was appearing on her Explore page. I mean, that must be how she found me. And she was just sharing the content. And I was like, oh my God, like, there is no limit to who you can reach through social media when you are sharing your message and that message resonates. Now, fast forward a year, you know, back then, a year ago, it was totally a pinch me moment. And I was like, oh my God, what the heck is going on? This is so cool. And then I changed my story to, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, to, of course this is happening. This is just who I am now, you know. I'm on their radar and this is just how I roll. And fast forward a year now, you know, later this week, I'm going to sit down with their health team. I'm going to learn about performance hacking. And never in a million years, if you'd have said to me 5 years ago when I was still in corporate and I was miserable as fuck and I was looking for a way out and I was thinking, oh my God, is this all there is to my life? If you'd have told me 5 years ago, Dawn, like all of the stuff that would have happened over the course of, you know, not just the last year, but the last few years, I would have been like, what? Are we talking about the same person here? Like, is this even possible? And I want to share this message with you all that it is possible. There is no limit to what you can achieve in the online space, you know? So use this example as the motivation and the inspiration to just keep sharing your message, and you will build momentum with it. And as I said, your people will start to come to you and you're going to be changing lives. You're going to be, you know, impacting the world and changing lives in the process. And there is no better feeling than that.
It's amazing. And, you know, the thing about your messaging, and I you know, I follow you and I love everything that you share. We're very, very connected in that same way that there's never been anything that you've put out that I haven't gone, oh, Maggie, yes. I totally agree with that. That's amazing. And it's always so lovely to see that. And I think there are people out there that you don't even recognise right now, that you can't see on your insights, that possibly aren't liking your stuff. They might not be commenting, but they're watching. They're watching, and they might not engage with you today, but you still have to put your message out there for them. You're still serving them, even if you can't yet find them on your data track. You're still having a positive ripple effect on the world by sharing that message. And that's something that I always think is so, so important. You don't know who's enjoying your content. You just don't know.
And someone is always, I promise you, someone is always watching. Even if you're showing up live right now and 0 people are watching your live, people are watching the replay. So please don't go live and then not post your live to your feed because you're like, oh my God, no, there was no one there, so I'm just going to delete it. No, like someone somewhere is out there listening and someone somewhere needs your message. And instead of trying to focus on the masses, just focus on speaking to that one person. And that one person's then going to amplify into 2 people. And then you're going to start impacting from 2 people. It's going to go to 5 people and 10 people and so on and so forth. So people are always watching, even if it feels like they're not, they are. So please, please, please keep showing up and don't stop showing up because it feels like no one's watching.
Yeah, I love that. I always, whenever we teach audience attraction, which is one of the signature courses that we have, there's a part in it, and I always get that lovely look of surprise on people's faces when we deliver it. And it's about how it's not your client or your audience's responsibility to find you. It's your responsibility to be found. And I, you know, the look on people's faces when we discuss that, it always just makes me light up, because it's like a switching on moment of actually I'm waiting for followers to come to me to serve me. That's not how this actually works. We're here to serve them.
Yeah. Oh my God, Dawn, I literally just got chills. I've got goosebumps right now. That's such a powerful message, and it's so true. It's so true. And the second you make that shift, everything changes. How you show up changes. The content you post changes. So such a powerful message for everyone.
Yeah, and I always love that. I always think that that's something that, because I think sometimes, we're human beings. Accidentally, we can fall into that ego state. We can worry about how we look today. I mean, I did it before we started recording. I was like, oh, I hate that Riverside FM doesn't have a beauty filter. And I do. If you're listening, Riverside FM, sort it out. Also, StreamYard. But when it comes to it, it actually is just that subtle shift. Yeah. That if you can take that ego state out of it, yeah, and recognise that your message is important to somebody else, it's not just about, it's not this whole, oh, I want to be famous, I want to have lots of followers, I want to make loads of money. These are all fantastic things. I'm not trying to diss anybody, but you need to make that shift. Like, what is your actual point? What's your true purpose behind it? And if your true purpose is, which it is for so many people, to positively support other human beings in this world, then you just have to make that shift to make sure that that's really congruent with the things that you are sharing, and it's really super obvious in terms of what your messaging is all about.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think, we all have a duty and an obligation, girls, to be showing up and sharing our message, because as we said earlier on, like, people have never needed you more than they do right now.
Essentially the possibilities for you being able to connect with other people and to be able to have that great positive impact, it's there all the time. It's there every single day. The only thing that's stopping you is whatever limiting beliefs you have there, whatever it is that you've created or that you've got that's a block.
1,000%. And you're like, everyone right now in some way, shape or form is blocking themselves. Okay. Self-sabotage has been a massive theme, Dawn, that has come out of a lot of the calls that I've been on over the last week. And so many of the girls are just like, I'm going live and I'm sharing a message, but then I'm not giving the call to action. Like, I'm not telling people about my offer or my program or my product. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because then I'm worried that if I do and no one bites, then I'm going to feel worse. So I'd rather just know that no one's biting right now because I haven't told them. And I'm like, but you're sabotaging. And I said, you're not going to get inquiries necessarily after the first time you pitch. But the more you do it, the more you're building momentum. And it's like with anything, the first time we jump into a car, we don't know how to drive. We don't just go from not driving to passing our test in the space of an hour. It takes months. You build up that momentum and you get better and better. And you've got to apply that rule to business and social media as well. Like, okay, so no one bites the first time you share your incredible offer. But, maybe by the 15th time, you've got your first inquiry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's really funny about that as well is that we tend to watch other people do it and think, oh, it's so effortless and it's just part of their personality and they just must be really good at that thing. When actually it is just about practice. Every single person who buys from us, they buy from us because they resonate with us in some way, and that whole know, like and trust has kicked in for them. They know that they can purchase something with confidence, whatever that may be, and that will happen for you. You just have to tap into that space where you're not scared to aim for something. And obviously if you aim for nothing, you hit nothing, so it's safe and it helps you to stay in that comfort zone. But one of the things I think that is a marker of being a successful business owner is recognizing that ceilings and often finding yourself in that place where you have to break out of your comfort zone. It's going to happen repeatedly forever and ever and ever, yeah, for as long as you're growing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're constantly on this journey we're on this evolution as well. Like, where we are right now is not where we were last year, and it's not where we were 5 years ago, and we're just going to constantly keep moving and shifting and evolving, and that's okay. We don't want to stay stuck either, because nothing great happens from that.
No, absolutely. And so many people don't look at opportunity cost when they are thinking about what it is that they're going to do next, staying in that comfort zone. Like you said, you just have to take that first step, and then all of the doors open for you, and you can see things that were not even on your radar before. Things can come to you that just you would never have imagined. And it's a little bit like trusting the process, but understanding that those of us who are doing it and we're in it and we're living and working in it all of the time, we're kind of already in the water saying, come on in, it's fine in here. And there is a little bit of trust in us in that you just take those steps, you will find your own way, and it won't be identical to what we've done, and it won't be something that you can just automatically put down as a regulated thing. You must do this and this. But I love it when we talk about curiosity and play, and how we can actually bring that into how we create content, how we share our message, and how we show up on social media. Because the best bits of us that get shared that people really enjoy tend to be the things that we find the easiest, when we haven't given so much expectation and pressure on ourselves. Because consuming content and actually being there on the other side of it, you should be able to feel that good energy, that joy, and really be able to consume it in that good way. I love sharing how, if you structure your business in the right way, how you can actually conduct it from anywhere in the world. That's something that I feel really, truly passionate about. And I think so many people that I work with, and I know this will be the same for you, so many people actually really just want to have autonomy over their own experience, and to have that freedom to be able to do that. And I love it when we talk about that, and you are a living, walking proof that works. Because I think still for some people the idea of that seems ludicrous. The idea of just jumping on a plane, jetting off and doing your work from somewhere else on the earth just seems like the scariest, most unavailable thing to them. But yet we've both done it, and we've done it for a decent length of time, and actually it's the easiest thing. Once you've done it once, it's the easiest thing. I could easily go and do it. I mean, I talk about it all the time, you know this, but I could easily go and do it again in a heartbeat. I really wish more people would just give it a go.
And do you know what? You just touched on the word of structure as well, which is so important. So right now, I'm on a 8-hour time zone difference to what I would be in the UK. So typically at home in the UK, like my calls are generally in the afternoon/evenings. Whereas here, everything's almost been front loaded. So I know from pretty much 7 a.m, so I'm up at 6 most mornings, my calls will start from 7, and they'll usually go on until about midday, 1 o'clock. But then after that, all of Europe and Asia are fast asleep. And I have the rest of my day from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to either work on the business, work in the business, or go hang out with friends and go sightsee and do incredible things. So I actually, by lunchtime, I feel so incredibly accomplished, because I'm like, yeah, I've already done all my calls for the day. I've got a few bits of work to do, and then I'm just going to take the rest of the day off and just be in the sunshine. And that's through having that structure as well, and making sure that I've organised my diary and I know what's happening when, but equally I hold that space open for myself to be able to, just do things that I want to do.
I love that. And we're not good at opening that space for ourselves, are we? As typical conversation goes, we're just not great at doing that. And I love the fact that you said that you feel accomplished by that point, because that brings up something for me that so often we won't sit down until 10, 11, 12. I mean, you and I have both discussed this. Yeah. We've both done it before. We've fallen into that trap where you can be working ridiculous hours and you can still go to bed feeling unaccomplished. So how lovely is that to be able to get to that state at the day where you know that actually those things are done, and now you have some freedom to make those choices. And that, how we structure our work, how we structure our businesses, and how much time and opportunity we're giving ourselves to connect with ourselves and our own wants and needs are so deeply connected with the success of the business and our own personal well-being.
Absolutely. And like space, I can't emphasize enough, Dawn, to everyone how important holding that space for yourself is. So having periods whereby you're just being like on your own, without distractions, without kids, without partners, without people around you. Take yourself off, go for a walk, go grab a coffee, and just be. You don't need to be listening to podcasts or trying to jam pack as much learning or as much things as you can into your day, which so many of us are guilty of. Like, I actually say to my clients, when you go on your daily walk, do not listen, do not do anything other than just be in that moment, breathe in the air, be in the environment. And you can do your learning when you're at home, like in front of your desk or in front of your laptop, but going out and just having space for yourself every single day is so important, especially for your energy. So if you're not currently doing that, you need to start doing it, especially if you're serious about breaking through to your next level, because more and more as you start to grow your businesses and scale your businesses, it doesn't become about the strategy anymore. It becomes about the energetics. It becomes about how you feel, how you are vibrating. And that is what scales 6-figure entrepreneurs to 7 figures. So please start, from going forward, start giving yourself that time and that space every single day to just be, and to just like be with your thoughts and get creative and just kind of recharge and refill your cup. Because if you're not full, you cannot serve, or the way in which you serve is going to be impacted. Your clients are going to feel it. Your community is going to feel it. You're not going to make the moves in your business or in your life that you want to, because you're burnt out and you're exhausted because you've taken no time to just rest and be.
Yeah, that's such an important message. And what I love about that is that you and I, obviously, we spent a lot of time together this year talking about our well-being. And one of the things that I am so guilty of is that thing that you just addressed. So I would go on a walk every Thursday. That was kind of my routine, and the almost like the justification, which makes me giggle inside a bit now. But my justification for going on the walk was it was okay to give myself that time for the walk and to get the fresh air and be by the sea, because I would listen to podcasts on the walk, and therefore I was multitasking. I was doing what I needed to do for my brain, for my business. I would be consuming the content of my peers and the people who I'm inspired by. But and I didn't give myself permission to just go on a blooming walk. Like, that wasn't cool. I had to have the justification. And I can't tell you how many times I've taken training videos to the bath. I will get in the bath and put my phone on my little stand, and I will be learning and training and upscaling my brain so that I can pass it on to my clients. But I will be doing that whilst taking a bath. And I am so guilty of almost giving myself this level of ultimate distraction that I am hardly ever just in a state of being.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? And I just want to touch on one thing you've just said, which was about the subject of multitasking, right? And I'm actively going to encourage everyone right now to not multitask, to do the opposite of multitasking, because we've almost been conditioned. And I think for me, it came from the corporate world. It was like, okay, check your BlackBerry at the same time as you're sipping your coffee, at the same time as you're trying to chat to someone. Like, it was like, right, how many things can I tick off my to-do list? Let's try and be efficient, because that we were taught that was what efficiency is, right? So then we leave that world, we come start our businesses, and we're like, right, how can I multitask and try and be efficient and productive? But actually, it's the exact opposite what we're doing. It's not being efficient, it's not being productive, because we're not consuming, we're not fully present in that one activity that we're doing, because we're trying to do 3 different things at once. So you're trying to lie in the bath and, relax, but at the same time, you're trying to listen to what's happening with, this training that you're watching, but you're not allowing yourself to just be. So actually, you're not fully listening to the training, and you're also not fully relaxing. So message for everyone is, don't multitask. It doesn't work. It's almost doing things half, like you're giving 50% rather than 100% of your focus into something.
I love that. And I think that's such good advice, because we can look at everything and almost give ourselves permission to see how many of these things can I juggle all at once? How many things can I do all in one go? And then we give ourselves a little pat on the back, like, oh, well done you did 16 things in one go there. Like, that's the measure of great productivity, when in fact it isn't. One of the things that I've let slip, and this is a public admission now, one of the things that I really love to do that I've let slip is I usually take very, very deep care in my energy levels, in tune with things that affect me. So I'm greatly affected by lunar energy. I'm greatly affected by my female cycle. And I usually try to lean in on my strengths throughout the month as those things kind of ebb and flow. And there are days when I'm incredibly creative and I feel like I could write a novel. Like there's just words coming out of my mind, and I could just write all of the things. So they're usually the days when I try to do captions, articles, blogs, that type of stuff. And then there are days when I feel like I want to share and I want to chat, and I'm a little chatty Cathy, and those are the days when I try to do my podcast, and usually I'm quite good at figuring out where in the month those days will fall, because it's very easy to read me. I have enough data on myself. I can usually figure out when those things will happen, and I can schedule it in. And I've recently, just because we have up-leveled in the agency again, I think the last time I spoke to you, I was like, oh yeah, we're up leveling, everything's changing, we're growing again, and it's happened again since we spoke last. That I felt that shift again, where I've had to almost not honour my energy the way that I would ideally like. I know I'll get back there, and it's the top priority to get back there, but I've felt the shift happen, and I think one of the things that a lot of people could benefit from is knowing that occasionally you'll get knocked off kilter. It's a little bit like when we talk about meditating and a random thought comes in. You can't always stop the random thought, right? But you can make sure that it's your priority, that you get back to your focus on your breathing, and that you allow it to flow by. And that's kind of what I try to do with my busy periods. Like, I know the distraction is here, but I now have to do what I can to get that flow back, to get back into that energy where I'm honouring where my natural gifts lie throughout the month. Do you do anything like that?
No, but I am totally, well, I'm not going to say no fully, because I do, but I'm really intrigued what you just said about your cycle and the lunar energy as well, because this is something I'm becoming increasingly more curious about. And if I think about, do you know what, Dawn, last week I was feeling quite energetically taxed. I was feeling drained, and if I think about it now, I'm like, oh my god, but I was on my, I'm gonna fully admit this, I was on my period. So now you've just got me thinking, actually, if I was to go back and track those periods in the month whereby I do have less energy, I could probably tie it into that, now that you're saying it. And also, like the new moon and the full moon, there'll be moments whereby I'm feeling a bit like not my usual, energetic self. And what typically happens is I work with like an energy healer, and she's like, oh yeah, but Maggie, it's a full moon. It was a full moon last night or 2 days ago. That's why you were feeling that way. And I was like, oh, interesting. I didn't realise it was a full moon. So you've totally got me really curious about this, and actually how I can lean into this and perform certain activities in the month on certain days or on certain weeks, and allow myself that space whereby, where it is maybe a full moon or I am on my cycle. So I'm totally going to look at that. Thank you for this amazing kind of conversation, because you've just given me almost like a light bulb moment there. I've just had a breakthrough.
Oh, yay. I love that. And, I find it really empowering when it's my time. For me, once it's happened, my energy comes back. It's usually a few days before it happens for me. But during that time, I've not been able to do it recently. I've had to almost force and spend my energy slightly differently just to get through this busy period. But when I'm in my ideal month state, there's nothing more empowering than just sitting at my desk in my pajamas, seeing no one, speaking to no one, and just doing the boring admin stuff and clearing things that, you know, perhaps don't require my full focus and attention. It's almost like just leaning into a half rest, half play, and then being able to at any point during that, and that comes back to me for that autonomy, being able to at any point go, no, you know, my body needs more fruit or vegetables or water or rest, or I need to go and have a walk, or I need to do something, get some fresh air, any of those things, that because naturally I feel once I get to that stage in my cycle, I need those things to perk me up. I know we should be eating good, nutritious food all of the time. We should be drinking good water all of the time. I appreciate that. But there are times in the month where it is less of a focus for me. And then there are times when I'm like, oh, my body really needs me to take care of me today.
Yeah. And we always need to be taking care of ourselves, like every single day. It's going to look different every day, depending on what you need. But again, another important message here for everyone is self-care is not a Sunday thing, okay? So I know that there's this hashtag self-care Sunday. Self-care should be an ongoing thing that you do multiple times a day to fill your cup. And like, you know, if you don't work, nothing else is going to work. So you always need to be that priority. Like, obviously, you know, I know lots of people will have kids and it's like your kids are your priority, of course, but if you're not functioning, you can't be there for your kids and you can't meet their needs and their requirements. So filling up your cup, super important, not just a self-care Sunday thing, but a multiple times a day thing.
I love it. And when it comes to support and things, I'm a massive advocate, and I know you are as well, for getting help and having things be outsourced. I always say to people, like, if you need support, if you need a new coach, go get a coach. If you need some social media coaching, do that. If you need somebody to manage your social media, do that. If you need somebody to come and clean your house twice a week, do it. Laundry, anything at all that is going to support you, do it. Just do it. Life is too short to worry about those things. Just get it done. Give yourself permission to take the best possible care of yourself, because then what happens is you actually are allowing yourself to project your energy to more people. You just don't know what good could come from that in this world if you allow yourself the opportunity to try it.
Yeah, and so much goodness is going to come your way. Like it's a given. It is a given. So another invitation and challenge for everyone to just kind of think on and reflect on and what they can do, like, and what that looks like for them to move towards that and start to do new things and start to take themselves out of their comfort zone as well.
Yeah, I love that. When we were working together earlier on in the year, we were talking about our well-being, and we were talking about the things that we can do to find internal shifts, and how we can help other people with those shifts. One of the things that I found quite profound for me was when we were talking about having people in our lives with positive relationships. Do you remember the positive role models in your life? And I recognised in myself that there were not as many positive role models in my life, but I had positioned myself as a positive role model for others. And you are absolutely, definitely the same, because you at that point had already been a positive role model for me. I'd tapped you, I popped you into that category for me. I was like, yes, of course, I've got Maggie. And it's a beautiful thing. But I think it's something that actually lots of my pretties could do with looking at, like, who actually do you have to help you have that support in that area? Who's in your corner? Who's your hype team?
Yes, having a hype squad is so important, and support. Like, we can't do it all, and you shouldn't want to try and do it all, because if you want to, like, if that's what you're striving for, you're just going to be burnt out. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to start to lose the love for why you started your business and why you started your venture in the first place. And you're not going to get to the top, or your version of the top, on your own. It just doesn't work like this. So the quicker you can start investing into yourself and into your growth, it's quite literally going to shave years off you focus on your core zone of genius. Your core zone of genius isn't necessarily copywriting and social media engagement and VA tasks and coaching and all of the things. Like, yes, when you start out your business, and especially in that first year, it can feel like you're doing everything until you then invest in support. Allow everyone to focus on what their genius zone is, and you focus on the activities that are going to bring you the ROI and that are going to bring you that happiness and fulfillment, and allow everybody else to focus on what's their zone of genius.
Yeah, I love that. And if you flip it and you reframe it just as you have just there, you're actually giving people the opportunity to live within their purpose. So rather than trying to steal that away because you have this need for control, allow people in your world, in your space, to fulfill the things that really bring them joy. It's an invitation for us all to enlighten each other and to enrich the experience of being together. And I think I love the whole shift, and you and I have spoken about this before, but I love the whole shift that has occurred semi-recently online in the digital space when it comes to female solidarity, because I just feel like whereas we previously have allowed ourselves to be pitched against each other, we're really changing that narrative, and we're doing it from the inside of the narrative, and just empowering and giving love and just really supporting each other in a way that I don't think has ever happened before.
No, and it's such a beautiful thing to witness. And, you know, Dawn, you'll know this already, but one thing I really don't advocate, and I really hate this word and I hate the term, is the term competition. Okay, there is no competition. The only person you're competing with is where you are now versus where you were 6 months ago or a year ago. Okay, there is more than enough room for us all. And the fact is, there isn't enough of us doing what we do to serve the people that need our help. So please do not view your peers and people in your industry as your competition. They are your sisters. You are all striving for the same goal, which is to make more impact, which is to serve more women and to make more income and to help the world. So this, you know, the theme and the subject of community and collaboration, 1,000%, like, and we're going to see a massive shift increasingly more and more towards this, because it is so important. And if you don't have that, it can be lonely. Like, this world can be very lonely if you don't allow people in to help you and to hype you up and to be your hype squad. Like, we operate in the same industry, and I could not regard you more highly. And I love, you know, the fact that you're scaling your agency again is fucking amazing. So massive congratulations to you. And this is a perfect example, a beautiful example of two friends coming together, cheering each other on, operating in the same industry, not viewing each other as, you know, that word competition, but actually just empowering one another, because we know that there's so many people out there who really need us.
I totally 100% agree. And the thing is like, thank you. That makes me quite emotional, because, you know, I adore you. But I think for me, I almost found it a little bit of a shock that not everybody has got the memo yet in terms of the way we operate this way. I kind of walked into the social media hangout room kind of like, oh my gosh, you guys are my people, and found that maybe not everybody has quite, they've not quite got to where we're at yet. But I totally agree with you. I don't believe in competition. I don't get triggered by that stuff. All I really want to know is, are we doing the best for our people? And are we all, you know, fully living what we want for ourselves? Are we embodying what we truly feel? Because the other thing is as well is, in our industry we get a bad rep for this whole fake it till you make it ideal. But actually, I have never met a group of people who have been more true to their values, more organically connected to other humans, and not scared to actually show up and be vulnerable and honest in this way. And it's actually a really beautiful thing. And I think there's always the dark side of the moon, of course. I'm not trying to suggest that we live in a world of Care Bears and that there isn't the bad things that go on, of course. But I think if you're cultivating your crowd in terms of who it is you're looking up to, which peers you're actually tapping into, you can see that there is a lot of wonderful stuff that happens, and there's actually a lot of positive energy swirling around to tap into.
Yeah, there is. And find that energy, like look for it. Like hopefully it will be visible to lots of you, but if you don't feel like you have it right now, it absolutely is available to you. You just need to do a little bit of digging and a little bit of searching and ask a few people around, and they will point you in the right direction.
I love it. So, I adore you. All of my pretties, please go and follow Maggie and consume her amazing energy. You won't regret it. Where can they find you, Maggie?
Oh, Instagram is my home. So just search for me, thinklikeaboss.co on Instagram, and you'll find me there.
Yeah, you'll find Maggie in the people that I follow. She's there. You can find her on there as well. Thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so happy to see you and have spent some time with you. And I'm so happy that people will have had a little insight into our chats. And because, we do get quite deep and meaningful. But that's one of the things that I really adore about our friendship, is that we can do that and we're always on a very similar page. We might enlighten each other with different ideas, but we always have the same core values, and that's really important to me. So thank you so much for coming on and just being a champion for my pretties, because it means an awful lot to me that they will have been able to listen to you and have you in their ears throughout this entire podcast.
And thank you for inviting me. I can't wait for the episodes to go live, and just sending all of you so much love, so much light, so many magical vibes as well. Girls, you've got this. There's nothing that you cannot achieve when you put your mind to it. So just go out there, make it happen, and just keep going.
Make it happen. That's amazing. Thank you everybody who has listened to this episode. Please do give us a subscribe or a review, and you can find me, my free group, on Facebook or on Instagram. And until next time, I'll see you then. If you're loving our Pretty podcast, come on over to Social Pretties, our online safe house and sisterhood community. It's a safe space where female entrepreneurs connect and thrive in a warm, welcoming fold of pretty amazing women. You'll find an easy redirect in the description, and I can't wait to see you in there. And depending on where you're listening right now, we would love it if you would click subscribe or follow so that you can be the first to know when our new podcasts come out.